Welcome, everyone, to our Thursday weekly podcast. We actually have been doing this for now 3 years, even more than 3 years. And this is Toni Weel. We have with us Sara from Virtuous Unicorns, Katie Mears, and Gary Parents. And today we're going to talk about trauma. And actually how Gary dealt with his trauma throughout his life. And we're talking, well, actually from many people throughout the years, clients, and it seems everybody goes to some kind of a trauma, and sometimes even starting at birth. And we often don't realize it and don't know what to do with it. We just, our way of dealing with it is usually ignoring it. But then find that when you try to heal yourself, as what we are all about, how can we heal? Is that things keep popping up and we're not healing as we should. We do all the things right and all the things we feel that we need to do, the correct foods for our species, drinking enough water, make sure you're hydrated, going out in the sun, do grounding and enjoy life, and then still feel, something is stopping us. Something is not, we're not really getting to the point where we want to be. And I experienced that myself. I'll be honest about it. And then realizing after putting it all together, it absolutely has to do with all the trauma. And I could say, a lot is unsolved because you think it is solved, and then you hear or see or something is said to you, and it pops right back up. And there is like a blockage. And it was actually Gary who started to talk about it, and telling me about his trauma, and I was like, we do have to talk about it because there are ways that are helping, and those ways can be different for everyone, but what Gary is teaching is definitely always helping you. So I think it is important to go deeper into this. And Gary sent me a short video. It's 7 minutes, and about how he got to better health. That has nothing to do with resolving the trauma, but should we, yeah, I say but, and I wanted to say more, but I don't really know what to say about it. Gary, what do you think? Should we play that video now or later?
Well, we could set it up, play it now, and then we can use that to move into different areas.
Okay, we will do
But
that.
it's kind of a setup. This was my first detox, which was in around 99, 2000. And this is just some of the things that, because it was about, I don't know, maybe 5 years after people kept asking me. So I finally did the video. About some of the changes that I experienced and what happened around me that shifted my perspective and my understanding of why the world doesn't really understand detox.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out now how to share. I thought it was easy because I've done it before. I think there we go. Share screen.
And
Share.
I'm not going to look like I look now, so just
No,
be
I did
prepared.
not recognize you. When you sent me that video, I was like, who is this? Okay, we're gonna play it now, I think. Here we go.
Was asked, how has Dr. Morse's videos and information about detoxification affected my life? It was profound. I'm 64 years old and have had problems from childhood. And I've never really related with doctors or dentists or anyone, chiropractors a little bit. But when you go to a dentist, or I should say, when you grow up on the standard American diet and you go to a dentist and your gums are puffy and uh, they're bleeding and you have a lot of cavities and a lot of plaque. I've never once in my life had a dentist say, you know, you could be acidic. It does not cross their mind. I'll tell you, I wore bifocal glasses from the time I was 6 years old till I did my first cleanse. Unknown to me that it was a cleanse. I did the master cleanse. This is not yours, this is the master cleanse. So I drink this stuff all the time. Now, the first time I drank the master cleanse, I had all kinds of issues. And one of my friends and I said, well, let's try it. So we did a 10-day cleanse. By day 7, I couldn't wear my glasses anymore. I had no idea why. I mean, it was totally oblivious. It wasn't until Dr. Morse's videos that I understood what happened. And my gums, all the swelling and bleeding, like all my gums actually shrunk back down onto my teeth, no more bleeding. I go to my dentist. He goes, Gary, what have you been doing to your gums? I've never seen them look so healthy. I said, well, I've been doing the master cleanse. What's that? So I explained it to him. I think he was awake for about 3.5 seconds and then he went back to sleep. And it has to be the training. Now they're eating the standard American diet too, but there's something that's keeping them asleep. They get it, they see it, and they never repeat it. It's like mum's the word. And a lot of skin issues, those are all going away. And what Dr. Morse has taught me is flow. I mean, this is the river of life in GI tract. And in the world of duality, which this is the world we live in, we have blood and we have lymphatic. And kitchen, sewer. Everybody who watches his videos knows that. So that's not new news by any means. But it's important to remember that flow is everything. Everything in life flows. That which does not flow is stagnant. And stagnation is either on its way to death or it's already died. So the principles, the basic principles of nature is in the food. We live in an electromagnetic field and we are electromagnetic beings. We should be eating electromagnetic food, which is fruit, berries, melons. So it's the highest form of fuel for our bodies. It's so simple. It's unbelievable that it's been kept from us for this long. I've always said they don't hide the truth. They promote and protect the lies. And that's what we have to get away from. We have to get away from the people who are telling us all this crap and connect with each other for this simple, natural truth that is life itself. And I mean, obviously, I have a lot more to learn, and I have a long way to go for my own personal detoxification. But it's been one of the best journeys in my whole life, and I'm so glad that I'm here, that I'm part of this group. I learned from everyone. So I just want to say thank you, and I hope that you have a fantastic life and that you have a spiritual life and that you reconnect with the earth. That's where the richness of our food comes from. That's where the electromagnetic field in our food comes from. You think about appendix, an apple or an orange or a lemon. Okay, it's the purest liquid in the world. If you want to call it water, it's the purest water. The water runs through the earth where it's filtered. It goes up through the tree, it's filtered again, and it goes into this little sterilized container. And it's waiting for us to pick it and take that life and put it into our body where it can nourish and hydrate and detoxify our bodies. That is the way life is supposed to be. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned, Dr. Morse and his videos, and I will continue watching them because, and promoting them because they are fantastic. So this is Gary. I hope you all have a fantastic detox, that you help spread the word. I would advise don't get attached or try to push people into it. When they're ready, they'll come to you. If they're not eating what you want, I have a friend right now, 71 years old, riddled with acidosis. I'm watching him fall apart in front of me, and there's nothing I can do because he has a right to eat what he wants. So, good luck on your journey. Thank you for listening.
Let this soft mineral melt in your mouth to rebuild your gums and teeth and never need.
Okay, are we all still on?
Yep, I believe so.
Okay.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Me too.
Oh, Gary, that was so good to see because I just started wearing glasses and I don't like wearing them. And so I am just texting Matt saying, okay, we need to do another master cleanse. We got to stay on top of this because I just want to get rid of my glasses. And I know there's so much healing that comes through those master cleanses. So thank you for sharing that video.
There are a lot of herbs too that would help with that. So the fluid in your eye is lymphatic fluid. And as you build pressure in your eye, glaucoma, all kinds of things, as you build pressure in your eye, depending how your sockets formed, the eye will expand, and it's either going to expand in size or length or both. And it changes the lens, and that's why your vision goes off. So as you alkalize with the Master Cleanse and herbs like my Eye Bright, and there's a couple others, it will reverse that pressure in your eyes, and your lens will go back to normal if they were normal in the beginning. I've never worn glasses since. So, and I people that know that I wore glasses, we can be riding down the interstate and I can read signs that they can't read. I mean, your body wants to heal, but we have to be able to get it to flow to the area that is congested. There was Nancy, and I just met her a few weeks ago, and her eyes were, I mean, they're just, even her eyes were so swollen and stuck out that her eyelids were separated from her eyeball. And I had pictures of all this too. So I did some EFT with her because it was all backed up sinus congestion. She was on the glaucoma watch list because that's what doctors do. When they see there's something wrong, they watch it, right? And they try to alter it with pills and then surgery. Actually, and I can't remember the name of the channel, but there's a channel in your eyelid. Okay, they cleaned those. Those were lymphatic channels. And she figured it out when I started doing the EFT with her. her nose and her eyes. At night, she had to stand over a trash can. There was so much stuff running out. It's been about 5 weeks now. Her eyelids are back against her eyes. Her eyes are starting to set back in her head a little bit. The redness and I mean, it was unbelievable. All the way down through here, it's all gone. A lot of the wrinkles she had around her face, they're gone. And she's 84 years old, because energy does not know age, and neither do muscles. They know congestion, they know inflammation, and acids, because that's what's causing that. So as we alkalize and get our circulation going up overhead here, in our eyes, our sinuses, whatever is wrong, it doesn't have a choice, it has to go away, because it was the building of it that created the issue in the first place. So yeah, do a cleanse. And what you might want to I'm big on phrases, mantras, and things like that. So every time I take a sip of the master cleanse, right, this is healing my body. That's what I say. Even though I may have an issue right now, my body is healing because I am drinking this live liquid. Because I am sending my energy and my attention to my eyes to correct them. And Bruce Lipton, epigenetics, we are above the gene. So if there's a problem with the gene and you change your story, which is what we're doing with EFT, you change your story and it'll change your physical being. It doesn't have a choice, because the energy creates matter. And as you increase the energy in your body through breath and proper hydration and nutrition and movement and rest and grounding to the earth and building that great story, your body doesn't have a choice. It has to change.
Gary,
When we really
Gary, may I stop you for a minute?
Go ahead.
I think there's something wrong with the video. When I see what plays on YouTube, it is still the video we were just watching of you, and not the lives that you are, that you are doing now. So can somebody check that? That is what I can see on that video. And if I put it on pause there, then it was like you stopped talking too.
It's going live for me, and it's hearing everything. Like right now I'm talking and it can hear me. So you're good on YouTube.
Same on my side.
Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but what I see
That's
here
all
on
right.
my screen is that still that old video is playing, and this is really this is really strange, and I don't know how to stop that.
Well, I
Okay.
don't either. I don't have a clue on that stuff.
Yeah, well, I can't say that that I'm really good at it. But we'll do whatever works. And if you say the way it plays on YouTube, it's still good, then it's still good. Go ahead, Gary, and I apologize for interrupting
Oh,
you.
it's all right. No. Well, it's an important interruption, that's for sure. So, yeah, because we want to get the message out. And these are things like that are stressors. I mean, we just stepped into the unknown, right? Like the video is still playing and all this. Well, we carry that stress in our body, and it comes in through our breath. And the way to release it is through the breath. And so when we are like with PTSD, which I have had plenty of in my life. I don't know if you want to get into how far back you want to go with my story, or
Well, if we talk about trauma, I think it's important for people to hear what kind of traumas can still affect our lives. I mean, sometimes we don't even recognize it. My husband would say that no, he didn't have any trauma in his life, and had an easy upbringing, enjoyed his childhood. But when I met him, he was extremely shy. And why are we shy? Usually, young children, they are not shy. I feel that they have been made by certain circumstances. And we figured out eventually what it was, and not going into details now because I haven't
Right.
asked him, so I want
Right.
to
Right.
respect him and not talk about that. But it can be little things, and I know from myself, even being put down, or always comparing me to my sister who was younger and apparently always did everything better. And so that was said by my mother. And then you realize that you constantly keep proving, your self-worth. And I got very, very independent, and that was also a coping mechanism. I had trust issues, and you see that constantly throughout your life. Something happens, and I have it with food, and I never realized it as much as I do now, is that when something would happen, I do go back to foods. And it's not that it makes me feel better, only that moment and the anticipation just before eating it. While eating it, definitely not after. And it wasn't, it's not something that I really realized. And that is an issue that many people have, but there are so many, blocks that we have, that prevents us from healing. So it would be good to hear those details if you want to share them in public, of course. And you have a very interesting life, Gary, and you even wrote a book. And I haven't been able to find it yet, so need to look
Yeah,
into.
it's on Amazon. It's on all the big warehouses and stuff.
Oh,
Um,
good, good. But yeah, it's, oh, I do have to bring something up, and which has nothing to do with what we are talking about. But I'm actually pretty what do you say that about yourself? Proud. I'm proud of myself that today is day 20 of my lemon water master fast. And mostly water, actually. The last few days I have been doing the lemon water. So, and it's going pretty well.
that is fantastic. Uh, I have not done a water fast. I've done a dry fast for 36 hours. And the longest master cleanse fast I've done is 30 days. And that was just mind-boggling, unbelievable. The stuff that was being eliminated from my body was like, whoa. that uh I probably, well, anyway, I was thinking I probably should take some pictures of some of that stuff, but not really.
Yeah, yeah, we always want to know the before and after, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
even at day 20, I don't feel like I eliminated a lot, but like what you said, there are things that can, keep holding you back from
Mm.
really go into detoxing. So we're gonna work on that.
Yeah, and when I from birth to 6 years old, my whole body was just lymphatically trashed. And that's what happened to my eyes. I mean, I can almost remember the feeling of my eyes going out of focus. And although I had plenty of energy, I mean, I was definitely an emotional eater. Uh, and I never really beat myself up for being that, because I didn't even know that I was that. I think I was just too young to know, and I grew up with many knuckle dragging Neanderthals, and I didn't realize how I didn't fit in society, because everything you physically fought your way to school and back home every day, uh, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Uh, found out when I was 38 that I'm dyslexic, and there was no dyslexic. I'm not even sure that was a word when I was going to school. It probably was, but nobody was using it in the school system like they do now. So you just labeled as stupid, and and you would hide all the time, and I remember being in class and the teacher called on me to read. Well, I couldn't read. And as I was just sitting there in my own embarrassment, trying to figure out what this was, she came up and slapped the desk and said, "Never mind." And she turned around and walked away. And that was the day I disappeared from myself. And that memory went into that deep, dark place in the back of your mind where you hide everything you don't want anybody to know about. And I lived there for almost my whole life. So after I graduated from high school in 1970, which I should have graduated earlier than that, but I stayed back a lot. And then there was a time after that that I never stayed back again. And I wasn't just an F student, I was a red F student because I couldn't do anything. I could not function in school. They made special well, our classroom was a janitor's closet, and we weren't really allowed to be with the other kids, so it was so disruptive. And I'm not saying they didn't try to work with me. They would let me draw pictures because I'm an artist sculptor now, not then. And they would let me draw pictures for book reports. Well, if you can't read the book, so I would just draw pictures and pass them in. In the 9th grade, I was assistant teacher of the 12th grade art class in school. And they were talking about doing away with the art program. And they actually asked me what I thought. And see, this is my understanding and knowing of things that, I don't know, maybe most people don't know about, maybe they do, I'm not sure. But what I said was, it would be difficult to take the art out of the school because when I look at a picture, I see the psychology of the person that drew it. And if you want to know if there's trauma at home, look at the artwork. Look at, you can have them draw things of family and things like that. And look at the dynamic of how that is drawn. And is it, like forced? Is it angry? Is it gentle? Is it all that is in that artwork? And they kept the art program because I don't know if it was because of what I said or not, but they kept it anyway. And they did ask me. So after I graduated, I'd been doing mixed martial arts for years because it was the only way I had to defend myself. Because almost everything I said turned out to be wrong because of my perspective of everything and not understanding the system. So I did mixed martial arts and stuck with my artwork, even though, it was kind of poo-pooed. Then after I graduated, I turned 21 that year. That's why I graduated. That's why I never stayed back again. In the 8th grade, I had an automobile, paid for a job, insurance, all that stuff in 8th grade. So what I realized, because I didn't know it at the time, when I turned 21 that year, I had a car, a job, and I'd be able to buy alcohol, and I was still in high school. No, that's not going to happen. So I aged out of school, okay? Even though I was a red F student and I couldn't read. I could go home, tear my motorcycle and my car apart, put it back together. I could build things, and I couldn't read tape measure. When I started traveling to learn to read and write, well, let me go back a bit. So what did I do? I became a sign painter, a non-reading, non-writing sign painter who could work in any language. Why? I don't know. They're all just symbols to me. They're all shapes, an R is an R is an R. So I was hiding, though, the fact that I couldn't read or write. So I would go to places and the embarrassment was incredible. The client would ask me something or tell me, this is what I need and this is how big I need and this is what I needed to say. Well, I'd pretend I was writing. They would never see the tablet. I would pretend I was writing. And then I said, well, if I have any questions or something that I, need to know the correct spelling of or something like that, I'll get back to you. So I would take it back and I would tell my wife at that time exactly what they said because it wasn't written down. And then about 3 months of that, because I was doing hospitals and all kinds of stuff, about 3 months of that, I learned to turn the tablet around and hand it to them and ask them to write down what they wanted. And I found most of them, they couldn't spell either, even though they were like heads of hospitals and things. But names are so weird because there are names that can be spelled 4 or 5 different ways. So that's one of the things that I started to do. Can you spell that or write it down for me so I get the correct spelling? But the sign painting took me all over the world. I mean, it was bizarre. I still couldn't read or write. And then after 12 years, I guess it was at that time, my wife left and I couldn't run the business because I still couldn't read or write. So I was going into the shop and I was finishing up projects as best I could, the ones that we already had in process. And I kind of lost my train of thought there. So as I was working in the sign shop, and I mean, I was doing jobs that other sign shops have been in business for years. Like I did the exterior 7th, 8th, and 9th floor signage on a hospital. It was just me and my wife. But when she left, this is what I was going to say. I went into work one day and I just fired myself. And I never went back. I said, that's it. You're fired. You're out of here. Get. So I took my van and I went on the road for 6 years, taught myself to read and write. And from that came my first book called Prisoners of Our Own Beliefs. And I'm working on 2 more books. And they've been in the works for a long time. It's funny how life gets in the way of of trying to get done, like a project like that. One is Help Behind the Curtain, and the other one is going to be about medicinal herbs and how we can use them to regain our health, renutrify, rehydrate, balance out any issues in the body, because the body wants to be healthy. And it's only through our training, through all these years of training, that we're sick. Everything is going synthetic and we're a biological body. I've always said that an automobile is just a mechanical version of the human body. It burns carbon fuel. It has filters. It has oil. It has water. It has exhaust, right? It has a carburetor to mix the fuel. It's everything that's in the body. It's just that it just sits out there and waits for us, where we are a biological cell that can get up and move around. A computer is our brain. Nothing has been invented, including the cell phone. It's a battery and a crystal. We are a battery, and we have crystal compounds all through us. The pineal gland, or the pineal gland, is an antenna, receiver. And it's constantly sending things out, and it's reflecting back on us our story. And if our story is, my eyesight is going bad, and this is something, getting into eyesight, you go to the eye doctor because your eyes are a little off. And he goes, how old are you? Well, I'm 45. Yep, right on time. The minute you hear that, you want to run. You want to run home, mix some Master Cleanse, and start cleaning out. Because if it's not an injury, it's usually lymphatic. So, I mean, it's so incredible, the journey of me not being able to read and write and have to sit in my own stupidity every day for 15 years that I was in high school, or that I was in school getting to be a senior, and not be able to defend myself. The only way I could defend myself was physically. And I don't even like doing the physical part. You know what I mean? Nobody wins in a fight. There's a wall between you and the outside world that you have built over time because you don't fit in. And you can't get in because you're not mentally capable of getting in or fitting in. So every fight that you do tears down a little piece of that wall. It's energy. That's what it is. It's an energetic wall. And eventually it goes away because every time you're in a fight, a little piece of that disappears. And then you're just not interested anymore. But hopefully you've grown enough in the meantime to understand that it's all an illusion. It's all made up, all of it. History is changing right now. All the history that we were taught as fact is now changing because that's what the world does. And that's why the kids are being trained that the parents don't get it. They're not moving into the new world. They don't understand technology. They don't understand. That's all the matrix. If you really want to know your body and how to heal, be the observer. Pay attention to your breath. When you're crying, you're getting rid of salt because it's overcharged. And charge is salt. And that's why we need salt in our body. Water follows salt. So when you have a cell, the salt comes down, and as the cell eliminates, it draws fresh salt and all your other things like your hydration and your nutrition and your oxygen goes in the cell. So that's the blood. It's 98% water. If you get a blood clot, that's a lack of hydration. Or if your blood gets thick, it's lack of hydration. It can't flow. So as these things come to us, this is what I've figured out over the years. All that stuff that happened in school was in my spine. And it's taken years for me to free myself up from all that. And actually, I didn't do it. Through my meditation, it comes up. And then I can let it flow through me. Because as long as I'm hanging on to that part of the story, it's stuck in me. And what gets stuck in you causes stagnation, causes density in the tissue. And it takes more energy to get through it, if it can even get through it. And as you open up your lymphatic system through proper hydration and nutrition and oxygen and movement and rest, grounding to the earth, your whole body starts to relax as you breathe, and you tell that to let go. Because you're the commander-in-chief of your body. And as you let go, you feel lighter. And you feel lighter because there's more energy in your body. You're becoming more wave than matter. And we're light. We're light beings. Every energy center or chakra, whichever you want to say that, in your body is light driven. And water is what allows that light to flow through. And when we get stuck on something, trauma that's happened in the past, it changes how that light flows through us, and we become more matter than wave. This is Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. And we want to be more wave than matter. That's when we're light. That's when we can do things and have the energy to do things, because we're working against our adrenals, our kidneys. That's our blood pressure. Kidneys are the bottom number, adrenals are the top. And it's different in each arm. This taking blood pressure, I mean, yeah, I get it, but I don't get it. If you have your blood pressure taken over here, and then you go over here and have it taken over here, it's different. This is why one side of your body, maybe your one foot's bigger than the other foot. Okay? One side is stronger than the other side. One side's dominant, more dominant. That's all kidneys and adrenals, because that's where your filtration and your energy comes from. If they take your blood pressure and you stand up and sit down, your blood pressure will be different, because it's self-regulating. And they're trying to take over the regulation of your body with a synthetic chemical that's trying to self-regulate itself. So if it's hormones or testosterone, which is a hormone, but as you take that synthetic version, your body starts producing the natural version. And rather than enhance the body so that it can produce the natural things, they suppress it by giving us synthetic stuff. Those are the things that I've come to realize I mean, you can't even explain how important that is. You know, if you have heart issues, they put you on a low salt diet. But if you go to the hospital because you're dehydrated, the first thing they give you is saline, which is salt water. And it's 9 grams in a bag. And if you have heart issues, they give you 2. If you have high blood pressure, they'll give you 2 of those bags, and they want your blood pressure go down. It doesn't raise it, it lowers it. If it's table salt, it'll probably raise it because it has aluminum or sand in it to keep it from caking. Whereas if you go into a Celtic salt or a Himalayan salt, and you just use a pinch, so all you need. Another way to do that is to take a quart jar. I'll use this can of paint here because I've been sculpting lately. Take this and assume it's glass, right? And you put 4, 5, 10, whatever, teaspoons of salt in water. And you let it set to the bottom. You stir it and you let it set to the bottom. It'll absorb about 26% of that salt. That's kind of what the ocean is, 26%. Then you take a 32-ounce jar, if it's a master cleanser, whatever it is, and you put 1 or 2 teaspoons of that water without stirring it. It's already settled to the bottom. You just take those, put them in. That's the salt that you need for the whole day. You do that once. If you're using pinches like I'm using, you can put it in all the time because you're not getting the 26%. A lot of people take the Celtic salt, that's kind of a flaky thing, and they put it under their tongue and they let it melt in their mouth. That's another way to take salt, because your body will not function without salt. It generates energy. And I have a conductivity video where I show that. Okay, we have a light bulb. We have 2 prongs. 2 prongs. You plug it in. You plug the. Okay, let me start over. So this conductivity light, you plug it in the wall. It runs over to the light, and there's a set of wires that come out the front with these 2 prongs. And if you stuck it in your arm, you get 110 volts. It's live. You put that in fruit, and that light will light. You put it in, and you know, this is just water, any water. I don't care what it is. You put that in a glass and throw that live 110 volts in there, it will not light that light. We have all been taught that water is conductive electricity, of electricity. Well, that's true if it has minerals in it, but if it doesn't have minerals in it, and you can go get spring water, it still won't do it. It needs, like, if you squeeze a lemon in it, it will light. If you put, squeeze an orange in it, it will light. Squeeze grapes in it, it will light because, or if you stick your finger in it, it'll light. It'll light even more than with those other things. Now, so I take a glass and I put a little bit of salt in it, and the light comes on and it just screams. And I take man-made sugar, white sugar, and I dump it in there, and you see the light start to dim, and then it comes back. And you put more in, and it goes down a little further. It doesn't go back. It looks like it's the same, but it doesn't go back the same. And as you keep doing that, like you get down to 10 teaspoons, and there's 18 in one Arnold Palmer iced tea. It will go down and it will go out and it will come back, but it does not come back the same. Now, what's really happening is when people are out and they're eating these sports bars or these sports drinks or whatever it is, right? It's poison. And your body is smart enough to know it has to deal with that. So about 60% of your energy goes to handle this. And to do that, and you want to continue your daily activity, your adrenals start producing adrenaline so that it can deal with this. And then all of a sudden, you have that lull, that all of a sudden you don't have any energy again. Well, that's because the digestive system dealt with the poison and it stopped producing adrenaline and you crashed. That's the crash. That's the 2 o'clock crash almost for everybody, right? Because they're eating these foods and you drink an Arnold Palmer and have a sweet with it, you know, a donut or a pastry or whatever. How much sugar are you getting? And you're pulling the energy of the body down and you're forcing it to do things. Whereas with fruits, berries, melons, even vegetables, you're building the energy instead of stealing it. Let alone the chemicals that are in there, the high fructose corn syrup, which I just changed the name of, by the way. I just did a post on that on my Facebook, and I can't remember what the new name is, but they've changed it so that you won't know that it's high fructose corn syrup. But these things are all messing with the self-regulation of the body. It's forcing it to do things that's stealing its energy. And over time, like 20, 30, 40 years, you eat that or you drink that, and there's not enough energy in the body for the adrenals to kick on, so it puts you to sleep because you're forcing it to deal with this. And the best time to think about that is Thanksgiving or Christmas, when people are drinking, they're overeating, and then they have to loosen their pants and they go to sleep, and they go into deep, deep sleep because the body doesn't have enough energy to even think about letting you do anything. So it shuts you down. You see it in pubs where people are drinking a beer and or whatever they're drinking, and they fall asleep in the bar, at the bar, whatever. But that's because that's poison, it's sugar. All alcohol is sugar. So as you drink it, it's acid. And you're forcing the body to deal with that. Thanksgiving, you're overeating, you're forcing the body to deal with that. And these are some of the daily traps that we get into because we're trained to do it. We don't need to eat 3 times a day. We don't need to sleep 8 hours a day. When our body is energized and it's functioning properly, It will go to sleep when it's supposed to, and it will wake up when it's supposed to, and you'll be vibrant because the energy is not being pulled into some section of the body that is congested and weak. You know, a cell, like a cancer cell, it's fermentation. It's more like a fungus. It's white and it stinks. That's why dogs save some owners' lives. Dogs love the smell of poop. And that's what's inside that tumor is poop. It's waste. And the body put it in that little sterilized container, hoping that you'd come along and do something to open up the lymphatic system so that we can flush it out. And if it's growing, we're feeding it. And if it's shrinking, we're starving it. We're opening up that lymphatic system so it can go out. I have a friend that he had a tumor on his liver and his kidney and COPD. And it was 6 weeks before he was supposed to have his surgery. And I said, okay, we better get busy. And he goes, yeah, right. I said, no, I'm serious, man. We did the master cleanse, we did the herbs, we did Qigong, we did breath work. And in 8 weeks, tumors were gone. And in 12 weeks, the COPD was gone. Because the body wants to heal. What's getting in the way is this thing, right? If you could think yourself well, we'd never be sick.
Now, Carrie, if I may ask, when did you realize that you had emotional blockage to you start with the EFT and Qigong, and how did that help you? Because I assume that you personally did that before you started teaching it.
Yes. So what happened was I grew up very angry, I guess you could say. And just through observation and seeing people, and I didn't talk a lot because I just didn't fit in. So through movement, through motion, through breath, through being around a lot of martial artists, because most martial artists are in the same boat I'm in, but they have a lot of philosophy. You know, one of my great lines for me was from Bruce Lee, who said, be like water. If you pour it into a cup, it becomes a cup. If you pour it into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Well, as we pour water into our body, what do we want to be? What do we want to become? What's our goal? And letting go of that is not, it's not easy because it's trauma. It's deep. It's in the tissue. So when we breathe, when we inhale, we turn on the sympathetic fight or flight. When we exhale, we turn on the parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and heal. So when we breathe in, let's say we do the count of 4. When we exhale, we do the count of 6. And this will help the body calm down because it turns on the parasympathetic. And I didn't understand all that stuff at first. So that's kind of why I'm going to that, is to release something from your body. And we don't forgive people for them. They don't deserve to be forgiven. We forgive people for us because we deserve to let go of that trauma. Chances are it was a lie. People in pain will hurt people. And they will find ways to do it. And if that's not working, they'll turn it up and try to go deeper and deeper into pushing you into a trauma state so that they can control you. We see it in the government all the time. We see it in friendships. People are, not all people, but people are cruel, especially kids, you know, because they don't understand that their words have so much power. So I just had this happen the other day. One of my friends, I hadn't seen him in probably 40 years. I went to high school with him, and we were always good friends. And when he got up to leave, he goes, "Well, you've always been weird." And I said, "I'm okay with that. I accept that I'm weird. I'm not like you guys. I never was. I never will be." And man, did he get mad. And I'm like, see, he's carrying this with him, this anger. Nothing's flowing through. It's sticking. Me saying that I'm okay with that, just it was wild to watch, and it's bothered me some. But through my meditations and through doing EFT with myself, my breathing techniques, I'm slowly letting go of it. And I will let go of it because it's irrelevant. Who cares what he thinks about me? That was way back in high school. You know, when I said I was going to write a book, all the people I went to school with said, no, I was out of school many years. I started writing a book in 99. So you can see all these transfers are taking place. 99 started the cleanse. And over the years, as I've learned things and I've learned to cope and understand, it's not all me. Yeah, I don't fit in, but that's because I'm in the wrong system. It's kind of like being in the regular diet compared to fruits, berries, and melons. If you're sick, you're eating too much dead food. Dead food, dead body, live food, live body. You have to find a balance between the two, because we've even heard Dr. Morse say when he was doing oranges, he got so much energy that he couldn't fit in the world anymore. So he just started eating some cooked food to bring him back down so he could ground himself again. Now, that is going to be different for every person, where that fine line is. Some people can eat fruits, berries, and melons for the rest of their life and never have an issue. Some people will get sick on fruits, berries, and melons. It's not that they're sick, it's that they're having so much energy that they feel sick. I mean, you can have cold and flu-like symptoms too, but this is beyond that. And they need to eat cooked food to get back down and get grounded again. And there's a balance there, and it's different for every person. We're just a petri dish walking around. And what makes that tick is unique to you. And it may be very similar to somebody else's, but let's say they start your diet, and in 6 months, a year, they start to get sick again. Then they have to switch and find out. We have to be the explorers, the experimenters of our own body. I try not to ask anyone to do anything that I haven't done or experienced. But I understand it's different for me than it would be for you, but let's try it and see how your body reacts to it. And our words are quantum energy. So all that time that I was in school, all that quantum energy coming to me was telling me that I was stupid and that I would never learn to read. Well, that was a lie. But I carried it inside me for years. I always wanted to learn to read. I was fascinated by it. In fact, I had a woman come into I was 38 when actually, my ex-wife was the one who said, "I bet you're dyslexic." And I said, So I'd never heard of it. And then when I saw how it was spelled, I went, who would spell dyslexia in a way that a dyslexic person wouldn't know how to spell it, or wouldn't know? I mean, it's just bizarre. The word dyslexic is bizarre. But here nor there, that's what it is. And we have to learn to move through those barriers, those certain things. There's still a lot of words that I can't pronounce or sound out or spell. And you know, the other weird thing is, we'll say that it was information. Probably one of the first words I learned to spell because I was actually able to break it down. Information. All right. So if I was to write that in a paragraph, and I said it 3 times, the word information, 3 times in that paragraph, I may have to go back and see how I spelled it, because I would forget how to spell it. So I had all these things, you know, and the computers were so frustrating for me, because all the T's have to be crossed and all the dots have to be there, and you have a time frame. So by the time I figured out how to put something in there, I ran out of time. I timed out and I couldn't do it. So sometimes it would take me 6 or 7 times going back, because I'd remember kind of what I did to the point where I was kicked out, and I just keep going over and over again. And once in a while I would get through and get the program that I was looking for. But the thing is to be persistent and consistent, and realize the motion is what's wrong with most of us. It's our breath. And when we master our breath, we master our emotion. If you take your hands and lock them behind your head, I know you can't see that, and put your thumbs down at the base of your skull, and you move your eyes around, you can feel those muscles moving. That's because your eyes are connected to the emotions that run up and down your spine. That's where your emotions are. And that's why my spine was affected with all the stuff that was happening to me. I couldn't defend myself. So that's why I get into mixed martial arts. It was a way that I could defend myself, or people wouldn't bug me. And you know, like call me names and that kind of stuff. So the whole time that I was in school it was like a prison. Did I have good friends there? I think so. I thought that guy I talked to the other day was one of them, but he's, you know, he's in pain. He's afraid. So that's why he said that to me. Well, you've always been weird anyway. Yeah, I have. I'm okay with that. Literally. I don't care what people say to me anymore. I'll observe it. If it's something I feel I need to correct, I'd love to correct it. But the chances are it's their pain being projected on you, and they're trying to pull you down to their pain. I don't know if you know about crabs in a barrel, but if you have a barrel, get down to the docks and there's a barrel of crabs there, and you'll see one, he'll be crawling, he'll start to crawl out, and just as he crawls out, one will reach up and grab it, pull him back in. Happens every single time. That's your circle of influence. If you're shifting and you're growing and you're moving out of that circle, they don't want you to leave. So they grab you and try to pull you back through stories and words, and you're not good enough, and you're what makes you think that you're so special, and you know, it just goes on and on. And you have to be able to turn your back on that and keep going. And understand, you know, one of the things I wanted to do a rewrite on my master plan, on my Prisoners of Our Own Beliefs book, because I realized years later, if you have an idea, and I don't mean this insulting either, but if you have an idea that you think will work in business or whatever it is you want to do, go to the people that have given you a hard time all your life that are not in business and ask them. And if they think it's a good idea, you know, you have to rethink it. If they think it's a bad idea, you're probably on the right path, because they've never had a business. You know, I was in the business world and I couldn't read or write. The whole time I was a sign painter, I couldn't read or write. And I was hiding from that. So there was some insecurity there. But it never stopped me, as long as I could hide it. And then once I had my book, I came back and I started a company called Da Vinci Signs. And that's company's still going today. I'm not part of it, nor do I want to be. I was so burned out by the sign business that I just couldn't handle it anymore. So what's weird is now I can read and write, but I don't really do sign painting. I'm doing sculptures and all kinds of other things, which I love. I love doing that. And I'll do a sign once in a while, but not very often. It has to really, really trip my interest for me to even consider doing a sign. And if I can sculpt something in it, that would be even better. So I try to do one sign a year. And the one I just finished was a 6 foot tall by 8 foot 8 inch wide 3-dimensional hand carved octopus with telephone poles for posts. And we made them, when I say we, I'm talking about me, myself, and I, copper tops on them with rope. So they looked like they were on a wharf, which is what you'd expect an octopus to be. And it was for a renewal center. Well, nothing renews itself as often or as fast as an octopus. And that's kind of how I sold that job. And that was a big job. The sign weighs about 650 pounds, and the posts are 200 or 300 pounds a piece. So it's not a small project. And my traveling, when I started traveling to learn to read and write, I couldn't read the signs. So I considered myself, people go, well, how do you know where you're going? I said, we're in Maine. There's only south and west. Figure it out. And things like Highway 40 and Highway 10. So there is no 04 highway. So like in Jacksonville, that's where 10 comes in. So you go to Jacksonville, take a right, and it'll take you all the way to California. I didn't have to read the map to know that. And so that it's been interesting. And I just expect everything to go well and come out right. And for some reason, it does. And then once I started really looking at my health, because I've had more broken bones than I was pronounced dead at the scene in 1979. That was my first wake-up call. I was in a coma for 4 days, and when I woke up, 2 of the guys that were in the accident were kind of like over the bed, and they said, "You've been in an accident." And I said, "No shit, is that why I'm picking my nose with my knees?" And one of the first things that I realized was I finally get hit hard enough, pay attention. That's when I became the observer, and my life started to shift. But they told me I'd never walk again, and they were going to amputate this arm because they said it would never work. I did all my own rehabilitation, because when you're in martial arts, you do a lot of rehabilitation. And I knew that I could do it. As soon as I wiggled a toe, it was over. And my hands, I finger-picked guitar. That's how I got this hand to work again. And so people said, "What are you going to do?" Now, because I'm in a wheelchair. "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to be an artist." "Well, good luck with that. You'll never make money being an artist." Those are the things that are programmed in people that are not true. It's definitely one of the biggest lies you'll ever hear. If somebody says you can't do that because, it's that they can't do that because. It has nothing to do with you. And they think they're trying to save you. Well, they're not trying to save you. It's their fear of moving forward. And the same thing is true in the health field as it is in any field. We are infinite beings in an infinite universe with infinite potential in a world of abundance, taught fear, self-doubt, and scarcity. in school. You go out and play sports, which I could not do. I did go double sessions every year, but I couldn't play the sports because I didn't have grades. That's teamwork. But when you're in that classroom, it's all about you. Don't be looking at other people's pages. Don't be a team. Don't be a this. Don't be a that. You're an individual. And you have to spit out the correct answer to a pre-programmed question. And if there are more than one way to do things, always more than one way. But what happens is we get pigeonholed, right, into being correct. I don't know if you know Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad series. I heard him say, because he was an average student. Now he's a, I don't know, multi-millionaire, I guess. But he said, A student end up working for the C and D students because the C and D students don't think they're smart enough to go get a job, which is why I started my own business. Even though I was a Red F student, I couldn't go get a job because I couldn't read. I couldn't do anything. So you have all that anxiety from all that. And B students usually end up working for the government because they want a good, safe, secure job. So when you look at all these little tiny things and how they all add up and how they become our insecurities, how they become the things we feel we can't do, they set our limitations. And what we are limited by is our own belief, period. That's it. Because everything else is made up. If there was a day one, somebody had to be old enough and know math to start it. And if it's made up, it's all made up. It can't be any other way. The only thing that's real is nature and our body. And if we're more wave than matter, we'll be healthy. It's when the matter gets too dense, gets too congested, it starts to cause problems. And how do you fix it? Every single time. I don't care if there's over 22,000 listed diseases. I don't care if there's 500,000 listed diseases. If you have a cell, which you do, lots of them, and nobody knows how many, you need proper hydration, nutrition, oxygen. You need movement, you need rest, you need ground of the earth, and you need a story that says, I'm infinite. I have infinite potential. And I allow myself to be that. It's really hard for people to do that because of the self-doubt, fear, and scarcity mentality that we've been taught. We're going to run out of gasoline. Not true. Going to run out of oil. Not true. I heard Bill Maher say the other day that we're running out of sand and water. I was like, who could even think that? We're running out of sand. The only way we run out of sand is if the government takes it over. The only way we run out of water is if the government takes it over. We have the same amount of water right now that was here at the beginning of time on this earth. We're drinking the same water that the dinosaurs drank because it can't leave our atmosphere. It goes up, it comes down. It goes up, it comes down. It never changes. That's the belt of purification. It goes up, and when it comes down, it goes in the ground filters it, and we consume it. And you're going to hear a lot of, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, we can listen to you for hours, but we're not going to. I had one last question before we close up because we're already way past the hour. is
Oh.
like, can you name names of people who influenced you on your healing journey?
Yes. Number one, and the first one is Dr. Morse. Dr. Artis, Dr. Berg, Dr. Bergman, Terrence McKenna. Let me see. There are so many. Dr. Perry Nicholston. He's a big lymphatic guy too. Kind of in a different direction, but it's about moving. It's about opening the lymphatic system.
And what was his name?
The 6 gates that I teach. Nicholston. Dr. Perry Nicholston. He's a chiropractor. Dr. B has probably been a huge influence for me. He's a chiropractor, and he kind of teaches. I call him he doesn't call himself this. I call him a shaman chiropractor because he does a lot of things like he does the Ayurvedic blood pressure. So if you take your blood pressure, he uses 3 fingers, and there's 7 layers of blood pressure that goes down through, and it goes through all the system. It goes through the liver, it goes through the spleen, it goes through the kidneys. And he can feel those. He does 3 levels. And he can, matter of fact, I saw him doing one with this young man. And he said, "Were you born with your umbilical cord wrapped around your neck?" And the kid jumped back. He goes, "How did you know that?" He goes, "Well, I can kind of feel it. It's just kind of a feeling that I get." Those are the kind of people you want to be around, that you want to learn from, because they've experienced life like no other. Dr. Bergman was run over by a car. His both legs broken, knees messed up. He lived in a shed in somebody's backyard with his kids. After that, he was a carpenter, and he couldn't do the work. And as he healed, he started to become a chiropractor. And he's an amazing, amazing chiropractor. And he has a clinic in Mexico now, because you can do things down there that you can't do here to help people heal. So Terrence McKenna is more of a philosopher. Alan Watts is another one. Rupert Sheldrake. There's so many. I mean, I study everybody and everything as much as I can. It's all I do. I live in my van, and I do a few projects here and there, and I'm just constantly listening to people to figure out, to pull out kind of how I started. Let me go back to that. So when I heard something that I was interested in, like the lymphatic system, right? I will listen to 10 or 15 different people, and I will pull out what they say that is the same. And it's a verification for me. Then I will start to use that in what I share. And it always goes back to the same thing. It's like people give you a hard time about alkalized water. Well, why would you give somebody, well, you can't have alkalized water? Oh my God. Well, you can't have an acidic body either. And if I take a 6 pH water here and an 8.5 here, and I dump them together, it's not 6 anymore, and it's not 8.5. It's alkalizing it. And it's probably around 7.4. I don't know, because I've never tested it, but it cannot be the same. It's like lemons are acidic. Well, yes, but I believe that you need acidity to start breaking up the denseness of the tissue. It'll get rid of scar tissue. It will get rid of calcium deposits, kidney stones, gallstones, That's what lemon does. It's a cleaner, and it leaves behind an alkaline ash. But if I take a lemon and I put it in 32 ounces of water, it's not as acidic as it once was. It's like taking the same amount in gasoline and putting it in 32 ounces of water and expecting your car to run on it. It's not going to happen because it's not the same. It alters it, and that's what we're trying to do. We're putting acids in our body, and we're not getting any relief. So your fruits, berries, and melons are more on the alkaline side, certain ones. And as we're eating that, we're alkalizing our body, and we're bringing the pH back up. That's all that's happening. It's just a chemical reaction within the body, and it cleans it and it heals it. But I don't know. It's pretty simple. So
I wonder
should I end it there? Or... Wonder what?
Oh yeah, no, that good. And Maria was asking a question. How do I find Gary on Facebook? I thought I found, but I could not see any option to follow. Only ask friends, but didn't get response. Mary, the link to Gary is in the description, and if you click on that, and I think that should be the way that you can get a hold of him.
Yeah, I have people follow me a lot, but yeah, Gary Parent is what it's listed under. And if you don't see this face, not me, because there are other Gary Parents out there. Matter of fact, there's 5 Gary Parents in this area where I am, and we're all about the same age.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Katie or Sarah, do you want to add anything to it before we are going to close?
I would say no, I don't. Gary, thank you so much for sharing all that. I took some notes on a few of the things there, and the thing about the dog with the cancer and stuff, the most recent one you just spoke about, I think that's super interesting, and never even really thought about it that way. So again, like, we all hear the same stuff here and there, but it's just, it depends on when you're ready to receive the information and if it's coming through on the wavelength that you're on as well. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Oh,
All your information, and thank you for sharing your story.
Yes, thank you, Gary, so much. And just like Sarah, I actually took some notes as well because there were things that you said that I was like, oh yeah, I know that. And then it's like, but I haven't applied it, or I used to do that and then I kind of got away from it. So I really enjoyed it because today I feel like you've kind of inspired me a little bit to say, hey, I just need to do this again and get right back on track and try some new things. So thank you so much, Gary, for being here with us and sharing your story. And thank you, Toni and Sarah, for hosting. I just love being a part of this. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys for being here.
Yeah,
I agreed, Gary agreed to do one-on-one sessions, which I would make a video of, and this is specifically about EFT to help you with emotions, trauma-related issues, to overcome it or to better handle it, deal with it. I don't like the word deal with it. It's something that doesn't sit right with me. But and you can so that would be a one-on-one session for, I would say about an hour, but if it's longer, that is okay too. And then you get that video, so you can always look back to it and apply what Gary has been teaching about the EFT, the tapping, the whatever necessary movement for you specifically, and breath work. So you can find that I still have it on, and I'm going to change that, but it's still on heal.me/Toni Weel. And soon I'm working on my website, which is funwithdetox.com. And I have to put it under construction because I'm working on it now. and it already it crashed last week, so I had to start all over again. Yikes. But anyway, we will do that, and I am absolutely 100% sure that it can help you a lot. We already have videos by Gary of how he helped another person with well, her blockages that would help her heal. We did that a few weeks ago. And yeah, Gary also has a channel on YouTube, so you can find him there too. I still have to add that to the description. And that's about it. So I would like to thank everybody for being here. And I hope you got something out of it that can help you move forward on your health journey. And, you know, we are always available for you if you need further help. I'm easy to find. Actually, there are two Toni Weels because Facebook once deleted my profile. I got it back. So I had set up another one, but it is it's actually the one that where you see always the same picture. And I do have another announcement, which is most people know me from working in the Dr. Morse fans group. That group has been signed over to the Dr. Morse's team. And I decided to now I have more time because another team took it over. I have more time to put in my own group, which is actually called Dr. Morse Fans Fun with Detox, aka Healing. And it's a small group, few hundred people, but I feel that we, you know, can be of even better service to and your posts don't get lost in a group with more than 40,000 people, where not everyone agrees on Dr. Morse's principles. And I think that, you know, we do hold on to that. They are important to us and always were. And so after 5 years of working hours daily, I can now put that in my own group, and it has a ton of information in there. And I will put more of Gary's videos in there too. So we both really want to work on helping everyone to get better, feel better, enjoying life more, and get over whatever issues that you're dealing with. So thanks everybody. Thank you again so much, Gary. Much love
Thank you.
to everyone, Sarah and Katie for always being here. So I would say till the next time.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.